Hi guys, welcome back to podcast. So for today's video, I will be reviewing this model. So as you can see right here, we got the laboratory by ZONZO Studio, and I'm very excited about this review because this is also my first the laboratory by ZONZO Studio model, and they have made a couple models in the 164 scale. One of them being the Garage Active Skyline GTR R32, which are very popular, and then they also have the R33 model also from Garage Active, and I think this is their third or fourth model if I'm not mistaken. Oh wait, they also have the Gembala GT, the Porsche Carrera GT. So I think this one probably their fourth model released. So yeah, this model is the Indecent Porsche 997, and this is also the first scale model of the Indecent body kits or the Indecent vehicles cars in a 164 scale. And yeah, I'm very excited about this because I liked the actual car. I like the actual Indecent cars. I've already knew them from like 2022 on a Facebook page about a modified Porsche, and the owner posted on that group, which is the yellow Porsche 997, their first car, the number one. And I'm very impressed by how the look of the car, like it has a very clean white body with no bolts or with no rivets on, and that is very impressing for me. So yeah, I'm very excited to have the car itself in 164 scale, which I can take a closer look later and take a photo of with the model. But now, yeah, let's talk about the packaging first. So again, this is my first laboratory by ZONZO Studio model, and we are greeted by this packaging, which has a very thick plastic on the outside, maybe to protect the actual packaging, which has a plain white color base. And I think they don't want to kind of like ruin or making the outer packaging dirty while shipping. So that is very thoughtful by ZONZO. And I've already opened the plastic previously before the video because I just want to take a look at the model. So yeah, let's just reopen the plastic. So this is the plastic, and now this is the actual packaging of the ZONZO Studio. We have the laboratory here at the top or the front of the packaging, and now we have the ZONZO Studio, which is the factory that made this model. And then on the side we get the sticker that shows what the model inside. So this one is the Indecent number 11 with the handmade limited official licensed product, and the color itself is the metallic orange. And then on the other side we have nothing. On the back is pretty much the same as the front, and on the bottom we could see this warnings, and then we have the laboratory sticker right here. So this is a genuine product from the laboratory by ZONZO Studio. And then we have the handcrafted in China with joy and pride, for ages 14 plus. Yeah, pretty much that's about it. So let's just open the packaging, and yeah, it is very premium packaging. You could see this is a hard case, similar to the previous Mirage 64, the Tommaso P72 that I've reviewed earlier. You can check that video out. So now I'm going to take out the model from the box. So this is the underside of the box. We're going to set aside, and then you are greeted with another plastic inside the box to cover the acrylic. And again, it is a pretty thoughtful decision by ZONZO Studio to put a double protection for their model car, for their product, and I think it's very thoughtful. And you can see that I've already opened the second plastic on the inside, but I haven't opened the sticker seal on the acrylic base because I want to open it on the video, and I think I'm going to have my first impression also on the video of seeing the model up close. So yeah, this is the packaging. I mean, the acrylic base. Well, it's not technically an acrylic because the bottom side have this kind of suede or leathery texture or material, which is pretty fantastic. It kind of like enhance the value of this brand, of this model, you know. And then obviously the top side we have the standard acrylic case. So now let's just open the sticker of the base, and we'll get to see an up close look of this brand and the model itself, which I'm very excited. So I've already taken out the acrylic. Now let's take a closer look on the model. Wait, that is too close. We'll start from the base itself. So the base itself, again, we have the plate that said the laboratory Indecent number 11. You could see that the number 11 is embossed on the, I think, yeah, this is, yeah, I think this one is a metal plate. And we got the handmade limited again with the serial number. So the one that I got here is the number 202 out of the 599 pieces made. Official licensed product. Obviously this is an official licensed product by the Indecent and not by Porsche, because yeah, you know, the Porsche thing that they don't want to kind of like admit it, modified Porsche as their own brand again, like the RWB or Pandem. Anyway, we have the crafted by ZONZO Studio again on this side corner. So yeah, that is pretty much it about the front plate of the base. And you can see the base itself, it has a suede or kind of like leathery material. It is very cool, and I've never seen this on another model before. So yeah, now let's talk about the model itself. So this is the Indecent Porsche 911 or the 997 generation, and the one that I ordered here is the orange color, which said to be the metallic orange. And you could also watch an in-depth review of the actual car in the Indecent Vehicles YouTube channel, because they talk about this model in a fully detailed, like how they made it and what's the wheels, what the suspension, what's the interior, and you can go check out their video. But now I'm going to talk about the model itself. So yeah, starting from the front, you could see that it has a very beautiful finish, considering that this is a resin models. So yeah, let's just start from the front. You could see these headlights right here. We have a very beautifully done headlights with a carbon fiber outer layer details, and also the inside has a two ring that for the LED lights, which is pretty cool. And then the blinker or the fog lights right here is a separate parts, obviously, with the plastic insert parts, and that is pretty detailed too. I think this one is a custom made designed by Indecent, and this is not an OEM factory blinkers. So yeah, that is pretty cool. And then obviously we have the Porsche crest right here at the front hood or the frunk. Yeah, that is pretty cool. And then the front lip, it is painted in this matte black, so you could see that reflection. And that is, I think this one is also a custom by Indecent, because I don't remember the OEM front lip is this long. So yeah, we are going to move on to the side. Now this is what I love about Indecent. I mean, I love about ZONZO Studio, because they managed to capture the profile of a Porsche pretty well. You could see that the roof line is very perfect. It's very Porsche. It doesn't like very small or very tiny. You could see that. Yeah, and that is very cool. And then now let's talk about the wheels. Now the wheels itself, I think this one might be the lacking parts of ZONZO Studio, because if you could see here, even though like you could see that it is a pretty detailed model, but you could see that the face itself is not like a 3D shape. It looks more like a 2D shape. It's very flat, even though you could see there is some pattern right there that resemble a Fuchs Porsche wheels model. But yeah, you could see from the side it is a pretty flat wheels, and that is very unfortunate. But on the other hand, you could still see a pretty detailed brake calipers on the back of the wheels, and also some Porsche crest on the center with the 5 lux detail. And then for the barrel, I think this one is a metal barrel. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I think it's metal, based on the shininess. But yeah, you could see that the wheels itself is pretty flat. It doesn't really have the depth in it, and then you could see some glue residue on the face, which is pretty unfortunate. And then for the wheels itself, I think the wheels is pretty okay. You could see that we got the Toyo tires right here, printed on the tires, and then some details right here. Proxys R888R, which is the actual wheels used on this particular model, the orange number 11 build. And then for the rear wheels, it's pretty much the same. It still has the flat faces with the orange calipers on the back, and the wheels itself and the tires itself is pretty thin, and it's pretty accurate with Toyo and the Proxys R888R. And then for the doors itself, you could see that there is some subtle ghostly side striping that said Indecent, and this one truly replicates the actual car, and that is pretty cool. You could see that the Indecent on the side of the door, and that is pretty cool. And then now let's talk about the back. So the back itself hasn't pretty much changed. For the taillights is pretty much the same one as the OEM factory, but I think this one has been replaced with Indecent's version of the LED taillights. And then obviously the most notable things is that you could see the Indecent label right here. The Indecent emblem is placed at the center of this rear side, so that is pretty cool. Then we get to see the exhaust pipes right here. It is moved to the center, just like the GT3 RS model they've inspired from. But yeah, if you are a very perfectionist people, you notice that it is not centered, and it is not aligned perfectly, the exhaust pipes. So yeah, that is another thing to note. And then obviously we have the ducktail right here, the subtle ducktail, and then the mesh grill for the engine right here. It's pretty cool. And then yeah, that is pretty much it. Oh, so now let's talk about the interior. So the interior is pretty much the same, matte black with a little bit of details on the bucket seats. So you could see that the bucket seats have some details with the belts and the tartan pattern on the bucket seat, which is pretty cool. You could see that the pattern is on both sides of the seats, and that is pretty cool. And then for the roof, they painted matte black right here just to replicate the actual car, and that is also pretty cool. And for the rear window right here, they have the strapping for the anti-fog window, and that is also again pretty cool. I have no words other than pretty cool for this model, because this is a really nice model. So yeah, I think that's about it for this model. You can see that the side mirrors also have a reflective sticker. That is really cool. Again, you can count how many I said really cool for this model. So yeah, I think that is pretty much it about this model. Oh, by the way, I kind of forgot the main thing to talk about this model is the stance or the fitment, and I really like how they did the fitment on this model, even though it is not an actual fitment of this particular car, because this fitment usually for the show version or the show fitment for Indecent, while this version, the build number 11, was built for the street fitment, which has a bit much more clearance on the car. You can see it on the actual car. It is not really that like this tight between the rims and the fender. It is a bit more have a gap right there. But yeah, other than that, I really like this model. Yeah, overall I would give it a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8.5 out of 10, because there are some things that I like to point out, like the wheels and then the misaligned exhaust pipes. But other than that, I'm pretty impressed with this model, and yeah, this is a really great model. And if you are a fan of the Indecent, oh, look at that, the door trim also have the tartan pattern. That is really cool. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. So this is the laboratory by ZONZO Studio, Indecent 9 and 7, and the orange one is the build number 11. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.